What's up, everybody? It's Johnny Bronto here with HauntScene, and it's been a moment. Yeah, took a couple weeks off. Had to cancel the show and had a guest cancel on us, so that was kind of a bummer. But that's okay, because I think we're booked for the next, I don't know, rest of the year, so I think we're going to be okay. So hopefully everybody's having a great night. I think we have the haunts that we're going to do on a road trip. Now, whenever we plan one of these road trips, things change. Usually one haunt doesn't work out and we end up swapping one out, or we publish that we're going to be at a certain haunt, and then a haunt that's nearby reaches out to us, or whatever. So this is not set in stone, but I'm pretty sure these are going to be the haunts that we get a chance to do. Let me check on the chat. What's up, Freddie? Freddie from Enigma Haunt in South Florida, Boca Raton. Really excited about doing South Florida this year, now that they're going to be open again. Last year, we went down for a weekend, had a really good time. But this year, I think we're going to be doing multiple haunts, and we're probably going to make an entire weekend out of it here. Okay, so let me share my screen if you all want to watch. What's up from Nightmare 3000? Oh, we want to do Nightmare 3000. We want to do that, but I don't know if the dates are gonna line up. So we're trying to figure out, we have to maximize like what dates we go. And usually when we start off our road trips, we start off at Netherworld, because Netherworld's basically open like every night in October. And we usually do our haunt road trip. We're only doing one this year. Last year we did 3 trips. I think we got about 22 haunts on the list this year. Last year we did like 30. Last year was just insanity. But we're not going to go that crazy this year. Plus, some things are going to be open here in Florida that were not open last year, so we'll be able to return and do those. But like I said, none of this is set in stone. We're still playing with dates, still playing with things. Well, the dates are pretty much set, but the combination, the order in which we do things, that's kind of where we're starting to do this. So yeah, 3008's on the list, because it came highly recommended from Tyler from Scurryface. But we'll see. That one's kind of like tentative. Hopefully we can make it, or at least stop by. Okay. All right. So hopefully everybody's having a good night here. Let me know if you have any comments. Now, remember, sometimes it's hard being in Florida. You know, we're a peninsula. Obviously, I'm very well connected to the haunts in this state, and I keep my finger on the pulse of the haunt industry all year round here in Florida. Some people just do spooky stuff when it's spooky time, but this is a year-round gig for me. So sometimes it makes it hard when you start reaching out of state, because what if you don't know anybody in that state? What if you don't know anybody in Wyoming or Maine or something like that? So you can put out something, hey, does anybody know of any haunts in the state or whatever? Just to put some things on my radar, and I hate that I'm going to say this, I will Google like top haunts and blah, 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 blah. And it's always some like third-rate website that, has outdated information, but at least it's giving me the names of places that I can check out. And then we go through, we vet a couple haunts, and then ask for some personal recommendations of people that have been in the area. And then we kind of go from there. Last year, we ended up doing 3 trips. I did a trip up to Michigan by myself. Well, actually, I met up with Leonard Pickle. We did some haunts up there. We did Erebus and Hush and Azra up there. Jenny and I went up to Cincinnati area, did a bunch of stuff there. That was a really good time. And then we did our major road trip, which was Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia last year. So, yeah. So, Fright Nights is back. Really excited about that. Stephen Kunkel in South Florida. Also excited about that. What's really cool, if you ever go to South Florida, if you haven't been, you need to go. What the hell's wrong with you? But you can, if you time it right, you can do Fright Nights and Enigma in the same night. And if you're going to do that, depending on where you live, if you're from like Central Florida, I would probably start off, be at Enigma when it opens, so you can knock that one out really quick. It's super awesome. We love Enigma, love the family down there. Enigma Sigma Die, and then you could turn around. You're already heading back towards Central Florida a little bit to do Fright Nights, and you got to do it because it's really cool. Yep, awesome. What's up, Haunt Insider? What's up, guys? Yeah. Last year we had a ton of fun. We were all exhausted. None of us got sick, which was pretty crazy, but we were pretty safe. We masked up everywhere, and it was really cool. So looking forward to doing that. This year we had a couple choices. One of the choices was we were invited up to the Northeast again. We know Tyler Kozar that runs 100 Acre Manors and in Pennsylvania, and there are some haunts in Pennsylvania. We still got to do like Pennsylvania, New York. I'm looking at the map right now. We got to do Rhode Island, we got to do Maryland, we got to do Maine up there. So I think we're going to do that next year. I think next year is going to be a trip where we fly up to the Northeast, we'll rent a car, and we'll just go up there, rent a car one way and fly out of another state or something like that. That's kind of the plan for that. And then I think we're going to do some of these. Actually, let me do this. Let me do this right here. Come back to Dent. We've been to Dent a couple times. Oh man, Dent's so good. I would love to go to Dent every year, but if I keep going back to the same haunts, as much as I love them, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And you know, like it's weird because if you're anywhere near Cincinnati, you got to go to Dent. If you're anywhere near like Stone Mountain, Georgia, you got to go to Netherworld. If you're anywhere near Pontiac, Michigan, you got to do Erebus. So if I'm ever in these pockets of areas, like if I'm ever in up where Haunted Overload is, I'm gonna do Haunted Overload. If I'm ever by Darkness, I'm gonna do Darkness. So, or if I'm ever by Hell's Gate, I'm gonna do Hell's Gate. So there are certain like big name flagship haunts that if you're in the area, you got to do them. And like I said, even beginning this conversation with Netherworld is usually open on more nights than other haunts, so it's a really good start because you can kind of plan it around there. So that's like our Wednesday night when we leave, and then we have to look and see what we're going to be doing on like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then come back on Monday. Yep. All right. Give us a few years, change things up. Yeah. And plus, you know, haunts, you know, it's Dent's amazing. I mean, Dent is absolutely amazing, but you're right. Give every haunt a couple of years to change up some stuff, and then it's new again, you know? So that's kind of what we do with that. And we still have 33 states to do. So we gotta we're only knocking like 2 or 3 off the list this year. And then I think next year we'll try to do 4 a year after this. But I mean, this year might be our last true road trip. Like after this, we're probably have to start flying to places because, you know, when you do a road trip, we typically leave on like a Wednesday and come back on like a Sunday or Monday. And if you drive anywhere that isn't in the Southeast, that's a whole day driving there and a whole day driving back. So that really cuts down on the time that you can do driving. And one of the things that we did last year was we tried to cut the daily driving down to like, you know, 4 or 5 hours max. And then we stayed in some nice hotels and we really broke up the driving really well. So I'm going to try to do that and plan around that this year because it looks like we're going to be doing about 30 hours of driving and driving about 2,000 miles ish. So let's go ahead and bring up the thing. Let's bring up the thing here. And feel free to talk in the chat if you guys have any questions or anything. Do this. I'm going to try to share my screen. Just give me a moment here. Where are we? Is it you? There we go. Okay, so how about we do this? Let's see if I can do it this way. Can I do it that way? Okay, that works. Okay, so let me and we'll do window capture. Let's do screen capture actually. Let's add in the page. That way you can still see me and we'll be able to do this right here. Display capture. There we go. All right, so we want to do you. Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so let me move all that stuff down to the bottom. Look at that. The magic of live television. Okay, so here's what we have planned this year. So we are going to, like I said, things can change. We're still kind of working on some dates and some specifics here. This is starting off where I live in Davenport, Florida, because we're probably leaving from my house, and we'll probably carpool. We're talking about getting like a van or something like that to visit these haunts. And then we'll probably drive all the way up to Netherworld. So we'll start off in like the morning or like noon, and then we'll drive up to Stone Mountain, Georgia to do Netherworld, and then we're going to move over to the Alabama area. Then we're going to drive through Mississippi to get down to Louisiana, and then hit Mississippi on the way back. So we're doing that southeastern part of this right here. But here's the driving. So 29 hours, gonna be pretty crazy. So hopefully if we do take one car, we will all not kill each other. That's another thing too, is last year, they're right now HauntScene has 4 of us. We lost somebody recently, but there's 4 of us now. Last year we took 2 cars. Like we took a car, and Tyler and Melissa and Kira were in one car because Tyler drives like crazy and fast, and then Jenny and I were in the other car, and it worked out really well. But if we're down to 4 people, it'll probably just be one car, save on gas, that kind of thing. We've already talked about some things that we can do to save a little bit of cash here or there, because these things add up. All right. So we'll figure out the logistics of that, but let's take a look at where are you? Yeah, this is going to be like kind of dorky because I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint, but this was like the easiest way to put this image together. So hopefully you can see that. You should be able to see that, right? Let me make my screen just a little bit smaller. Let's make you right. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we got going on this year. We're going to leave Florida on probably a Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the dates that fall and how these shake out. And whatever the first night of the road trip is going to be to Netherworld. So we're going to drive up to Stone Mountain, Georgia, do Netherworld. And then I think one of the things that worked out for us really well last year was we would drive a little bit after the haunt for like a couple hours or something like that. If the hotel we weren't staying at was right by the haunt, we would, which we did plan around a couple haunts like that, we would drive a little bit to take away the drive time from the next day, right? So getting up to Netherworld Hill, let's take a look at the drive time. So getting to Netherworld here in the details. So just getting to Netherworld is 468 miles. It's about 6.5 hours. So that's a whole day of driving right there. That's like the maximum amount of time I'd want to drive. So we'll get there, and we'll probably have dinner, check into the hotel, and we stayed at a really cool place around Netherworld, so that worked out really well. So that'll be like our first night there, right? Yeah, Jenny and Johnny were mom in the other car. Yeah, the kids were in Tyler. Hello from Netherworld. Have you ever done Arx or Warehouse 31 in Alabama? No. So we try not to like prioritize things. Atrox was originally on the list, but I don't think we can get from Atrox to Arx in one night. I was talking to Tyler from Scurryface, and it doesn't seem like logistically that's something that can happen. Sometimes we reach out to the haunts and we let them know that we're coming, and most of them are really cool and that, they're happy to have us out, and that's really cool. So we can usually be there before open. As a matter of fact, that really bugs my crew. Like, I'm like, we got to be at the haunts like early, like an hour early, or sometimes even more than that, because I want to get there and I want to take pictures, when it's still light out, and hopefully meet the owner or meet some of the staff if we can, create some content, and then when a haunt opens, go and do the things. So that was on the list. It's still kind of on the list, like 3008 is kind of on the list. Those are kind of like the if we can work them in kind of thing. Warehouse 31, we had a Warehouse 31 here in Florida, in Jacksonville, Warehouse 31 Unleashed. I wasn't aware of another one in Alabama, but logistically we'll have to see when they fall. Yeah. And I'll try to reach out to Ben at Netherworld, Ben Armstrong. Usually, like, he's so busy because it's like one of the biggest haunts in the U.S. To let them know that we're coming. But I always run into him afterwards because we love Ben. They're awesome. So yeah, that's the first thing. So let's see how long. That's like day one. Get to leave Florida, get to Georgia, check into the hotel, do Netherworld. What's next? Okay, so from Netherworld to Arx Mortis, that's 4.5 hours. So with this one, we'll try to find something to do in between, because if we check out at our hotel, usually the checkout time's like 11 o'clock, and if we leave there and get some lunch or whatever, and then we'll have to plan around that a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be a little different this year, because one of my only requirements last year was we're all gonna be in the same car this year, so it's gonna be a little different. We're gonna have to eat together and stuff. But last year, the only requirement I had of everybody on my crew was we're gonna have dinner every night together. That was the whole thing. We had some really good food on the trip, but as far as like breakfast and lunch, like they were on their own, and I'm sure they did like McDonald's and stuff like that. But yeah. So 4.5 hours there. So if we can find something spooky in between, like if there's like something spooky to visit, or even if there's like a haunt that we can't do, maybe not their full show, but we can walk through. Maybe that'll be something that we can do. But if we leave it like early, you know, because we usually leave it like 10 a.m. Ish, that would put us at Arx Mortis area around 2:30. So we're gonna have a good 5 hours to kill ish. So, and that, you know, there's still meals and stuff like that. So we're still gonna have a couple spare hours to do some stuff with that. So Arx Mortis there, 4.5 hours. And then the next day, probably after we leave Arx Mortis, maybe we'll drive for another couple hours to try to cut down on the drive time to the next one. But now we're driving all the way down to Louisiana. Now this one's going to be 7 hours. So this is going to be a long stretch, probably one of the longer stretches of this trip, to do that one right there. Yep. And so we're going to do that. And I know CFX is in the area in Baton Rouge. So we've got stuff to do in New Orleans during the day, because New Orleans has got the Lafayette cemeteries. I don't think everybody on my crew's been to like the voodoo shops or Bourbon Street or whatever. So I think we'll be fine with stuff to do there. And I also want to see if I can stop by the composite effects shop. I think they're like 45 minutes out of New Orleans in Baton Rouge. I don't really know much about this. Where's Baton Rouge here? So, where are you? And if you want to chime in and let me know, you probably know this better than I do. We'll figure it out. Baton Rouge is probably up here. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, so yeah, I think they're 45 minutes away from New Orleans, so they got to be somewhere in here somewhere. I don't know. We will figure it out. Why am I so horrible with this? Anyways, we'll figure it out. But yeah, we got 13th Gate. I try not to say like one haunt is like the centerpiece of everything, but usually one haunt starts off the trip like, I want to do this haunt. This is the haunt in the region, and then we find stuff around that haunt. So 13th Gate is there on the list right there. So that's going to be kind of exciting. Rise is also in the area. I think we plan on spending more than one day in Louisiana. So let me look at the logistics here. So night 1, Netherworld. Night 2, Arx Mortis. Night 3, 13th Gate. Night 4, so that would put us at like Saturday, Rise. And then depending on the last one here, this is going to be the where are you? Terror on the Coast right here. But Terror on the Coast seems like it's pretty close to Rise though. So we might have to figure out if we can squeeze. Let's see what the difference is. So 13th Gate's only an hour away from Rise. See if it's under an hour. Not that we're in a hurry, because we want to make sure that we give every haunt a good couple hours of creating content, taking pictures of the characters and everything that we can do. Because the whole point of these trips is to promote these haunts like a travel show, to show that things are out there to do. So there is a possibility of maybe getting both of those in a night. What about the next one here? We'll Terror on the Coast like an hour and a half. Like I said, when I was talking about Enigma earlier, if we can get into one haunt like right when it opens, depending on how big the haunt is or how long it takes to do the whole experience, and depending on how late the next haunt is open, there's a possibility we might be able to squeeze in more than one of these. So it seems like everything is like an hour, hour and a half away from New Orleans. So maybe we'll stay in like this region, like right here, wherever this is. What city is this? La Place right here. Maybe we'll stay in like this region right here, one of these, and then maybe there's a possibility if we can find somewhere that's centrally located, we could have that as like a home base and then just come back to that haunt for a couple nights, or come back to that hotel a couple nights to do these right here. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. What do you think? Is this a good plan? Are you glad to be a part of this? Now, keep in mind, I've been to Louisiana. I've been to New Orleans several times because I went for HauntCon, and I love New Orleans. New Orleans is amazing. I'm pretty sure that in a previous life, I lived in New Orleans because I just felt I've never ever like journeyed to a city that I've never ever been before and felt like safe and home. Like it felt like I was there. You know, it was pretty crazy. So yeah, but here's what we're looking at here. So depending, well, how far is Rise away from Terror on the Coast? Terror on the Coast and Rye. So they're like an hour and a half apart. And see, we got a lot of driving on the way home, 8 hours. But if we leave, if that's like a Sunday or like a Monday, you know, that wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. All right, let's check on the chat here. Tyler's in here. What's up, Tyler? What's up, Jenny? Haunt Insider volunteer as tribute to be a driver. Hello from Netherworld. Yep. Okay, talked about that. Yep. Okay, can see it, love it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so that's the plan. That's what we're looking at for this year. I am making a trip by myself in mid-August up to All Hallows in Ohio to do a long weekend there, and I'm doing like on the cheap. I'm doing it with like Frontier Miles, super cheap airline, not even like barely packing a bag. It'll be mostly my cameras and like, you know, change of underwear and a couple socks and t-shirts, but that'll be cool. And then I don't know, you know, because this year's going to be a little different because last year we had no Horror Nights. And Horror Nights is going to be open this year, Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando at Universal. So we're going to do that the first weekend that it's open. That's like the first week of September. The weekend after that, I'll show you guys, actually. So you guys want a little behind-the-scenes, little peeky peek at some of the inner workings of HauntScene? No screenshots, but check this out. I'll show you what we do for this one right here. So let me go in and I'll show you the calendar. So we keep a calendar and it has all of our shows and everything on here a little bit. But even when we get into August, notice how we're having like haunt, ghost, you know, paranormal show, whatever. So we're booked all the way basically through the rest of the hopefully from next week we're gonna have Michael Burnett on, and then we're basically booked all the way from that point on. So that's pretty cool. Don't take 30 screenshots. Arx, well, if I had to pick a date, if I had to like spitball a date, it would be, and once again, this depends on when these haunts are open, because some of the haunts might not be open on Thursdays, which means we either have to find another haunt or we have to shift the trip. Like part of me is like, well, maybe we could do the show or do this trip in the opposite order if it doesn't work. It really depends on when the haunts are open. But we're gonna leave on the 6th here, and we're going to go to Netherworld the first night, Alabama the second night. Once again, not 100% sure about the haunts yet. Mississippi on the 3rd. Actually, this is going to end up being Louisiana, and this is going to be Louisiana too. And Mississippi's going to be here, and then probably travel home on Monday. That's kind of the plan here. Yep, I already got the dates for South Florida. Got all the things going on here. So yeah, this is where it gets crazy. Basically, this is where we do all the things. I got all my dates. I've got some dates for some media nights already, for some press events, that kind of thing. So that's what we got going on with that one. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good trip. it's going to be a good trip. And I did bounce some of these haunts off of Tyler from Scurry Face, and he seems like it's a pretty solid trip here. Planning on being down there. Might see you. I'm late when you're you and Noel again. We'll be in New Orleans on. Let's go back here. New Orleans. We'll be in Louisiana, New Orleans on Friday the 8th and Saturday the 9th, I believe. Once again, loose until we haven't confirmed anything. Still need to reach out to these haunts. Normally we let them know that we're coming, so they can, hopefully we can like meet them, and then we'll go from there. Yep, and then you got to book like hotels and stuff like that. It's a whole thing. Yep. Arx, I don't know. You're gonna have to tell me if you're familiar with Arx. Let me know, Bubba, if Arx is open on Thursdays. Some of these haunts are only open on Fridays, and it's like putting a round peg in a square hole. You gotta fit them in. So yeah. And if that doesn't work, we could shift things up to like Tennessee or something like that. Anywhere to contribute funds to your trip? I mean, you are more than welcome to make a donation to HauntScene if you want to. We don't really ask for money, but yeah, our PayPal link is there. So if you want to do that, I'm not going to say no. But yeah, it should be a fun trip. I'm excited about that. Should be a good trip here. So here's what normally happens is once we're 100% like the team is on board with this, which I plan this so they're on board. But once we're like, we're gonna reach out to these haunts, I usually do like a social media post and I tag all the haunts and I say, here's what's on our road trip for this year. And then what's cool is some of the haunts that are nearby these haunts will reach out and say, hey, you're already at blah 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 haunt, you're already at Rise, we're right next door to Rise, check us out. Or I have gotten some haunts that have talked smack about some of the other haunts, but we try to keep things positive, so we don't do the smack talking. And but yeah, I mean, these are all pretty cool. One of the other side effects of this is the Legendary Haunt Tour. So the Legendary Haunt Tour, and I'll bring it up here. I'll just Google it. Legendary Haunt Tour. This was something I wanted to do. Legendary Haunt Tour. And I think it's just legendaryhaunttour.com. Yeah. So this year, 13th Gate, New Orleans Nightmare, we might be able to put that on the trip. Oh. So if we could do some of these, I'll have to look where some of these are located. Hold on one second. Hold on. So let's say we're back here on the map and I add in, yeah, pricey. But the problem is, and this was going to be like, we were actually going to shift the road trip and go up to the Northeast again. However, they're having a music festival here called Welcome to Rockville, and at the Daytona Speedway. It's got 4 days of a million bands that I want to see. And me and Tyler and our friends from Misfits Unmanaged, Jeremiah and Kira, are going to do that. So that's the same weekend as the Legendary Haunt Tour. So New Orleans Nightmare. Let's see where this fits into everything. Okay, not 39 hours. This has got to be somewhere around here. All right. So looking here. Ooh, look at this. All right. So New Orleans Nightmare is probably going to be on there. That's a 13th floor haunted house. Might as well do that one in the area because we really like, we've done several 13th floor locations there. Nola, yeah, message me probably need contact. Yeah, I do. I will, Paul. Thank you so much. I will need contacts for them. Normally, I reach out, and as a matter of fact, I think I reached out to a couple of them today through Facebook. Usually, just message people. Hey, I'm Johnny Bronto. I run HauntScene.com out of Orlando. Who's your media contact? And then I email them. When they hit me back, I email them the media kit. We have a press kit. Basically just to let people know that we're not doing this for like free tickets. I mean, any of these, if we ever reach out to any of these haunts, some of them are like, yeah, come on out, and they're excited for us to be there. But if we ever don't get a hold of a haunt, we've got no problem buying stuff. We don't do this for free tickets. We do this for the haunts. So that's what we do. All right, so there's New Orleans Nightmare right there. And then where's this Mortuary one? Mortuary Haunted House. Ooh, Canal Street in... Oh my god, that one's so close right there. We could do our own legendary haunt tour right here. Man, I wonder if we could do 13th Gate and Rise in one night, and we could do New Orleans Nightmare and Mortuary one night. That would be dope. If you don't use that word, that's fine. I'm like a 80s kid. All right, night 1, Netherworld. Night 2, Arx Mortis. Night 3, 13th Gate and Rise. Night 4, New Orleans Mortuary. Night... Hold on, wait. I lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 nights. Let's look back at the calendar here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If some of these haunts are open up on Sunday, we could probably do that. And we could add 2 other haunts to our trip. That would be awesome. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I've heard good things about New Orleans Nightmare. As a matter of fact, I just forgot that one was there. See, that's the whole thing about knowing people in the haunt industry, because they will refer you to other haunts, and that's how we discover things, you know. Because honestly, after next year, 2022 and 2023, we will have the entire East Coast, the whole eastern half of the United States, like the whole eastern part of it, done. And after that, when we start looking at like Texas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington State, California, I mean, we'll probably do like Knott's and Horror Nights or whatever there, but California might be like its own trip, you know, because I would imagine California probably has a lot of haunts. And so yeah, so we're just gonna kind of pick away at the US until we get at least one haunt done in every state. And at that point, I'm going to retire, and I'm going to leave this show to all the young people that I will recruit along the way. That's the big plan for HauntScene. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Paul. Yeah, hit me. I'll hit you up after this, and then we'll chat. I'm coming to North Carolina. Well, we were in North Carolina last year. North Carolina, we did... What did we do in North Carolina last year? What did we do in North... Hold on. Let me see if I can... road trip. Road trip. Was it 2019? No, it was 2020. Hold on. Hold on. I will look. This might also be something that you probably don't need to see. I'm showing you all the stuff because I keep spreadsheets or whatever. I'm a complete nerd when it comes to this stuff. Road trip number 2. Okay, so what did we do here? That was road trip number 2 that we didn't do last year. We did Netherworld, and we did Nightmare Dungeon. We were supposed to do Sweet Dreams, but they weren't open the night that we were there. North Carolina, we did Woods of Terror last year. Yeah, Woods of Terror. Tried to reach out to Spooky Woods. I think the owner said that they weren't in a position to... They didn't feel like it was a good show last year. We would have went anyways. And then we did Red Vein and Folklore on the way back. So this was kind of our trip last year. So you can kind of see it's the same format. And I'll do this for the trip this year as well. So yeah, I'm a complete nerd when it comes to this stuff. Yep. Own a haunt in NC? Yeah, PTO's requested, man. We're ready. We're ready. You know what's funny is that's gonna be... I'm only taking like 1, 2, 3, 4 days off of work here. In November, I'm taking like a whole week off. Like I'm gone from like the 10th to the 17th, because that'll be like our Welcome to Rockville stuff here. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, it's spooky season. So this is the time of year that we get out and get a little spooky and do all the things, you know. But we try to plan everything. I'm a little obsessive compulsive. If you don't know me, I'm a little OCD. But I like to have everything set, and then usually the only things we need to figure out are like where to eat and stuff like that. So usually if I am talking to a haunter, I'm like, hey man, we're gonna come to your haunt, or hey man or ma'am or whoever you are, we're gonna come to your haunt, and I'll ask them if there's like a cool place to eat around, or something, you know, iconic or whatever. I'm not a big traveler. Like I don't like have like a million places in the US that I want to see. that aren't based around haunts. But I would imagine in this southeastern region of the United States, there's probably some spooky stuff to do or check out in between the haunts or in addition to the haunts or whatever. Chris, which haunt do you own in North Carolina? Let me know. Yeah, we just need to know what haunts are out there, because if we've never heard of you and how are we, that's kind of the whole point of doing HauntScene is if people don't know who you are, how are they going to give you your money? Like that's the thing. So what we do is we travel around to put these things on our audience's radar, like, hey, if you're ever in North Carolina, do Woods of Terror or something like that. So this is the plan right here to do our road trip. Yeah, so let me know. Nightmare is great. Okay, cool. Well, see things change pretty quickly on the fly, and it is, as much as I love doing haunts, it is rough to spend a whole day on the road and then do a haunt. And some haunts are like you're there for like an hour. Some haunts are there for like 2 hours. Some haunts don't really have like a queue or like a common area or like queue characters or something like that. So you basically show up, you do the haunt, you take a couple pictures, and then that's basically it. So if that's the case, then we might be able to fit more than one haunt in a night, which would be cool. Spooky Bottom Haunted Trail. We actually won Best Haunt in Carolinas last season, third-party fan voting system, which was pretty cool. Old School Horror. Awesome. Yeah, we'll put it on the list if we're ever back in North Carolina. And then let me know if you do off-season stuff, because, if it's in like Bumsville, March, and you're doing like some off thing and we can get out there, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, Bubba, what do you think, man? What do you think of the haunts that we've done? So we're looking at this one right here, and it looks like we can also throw New Orleans Nightmare and Mortuary on here as well. So we're gonna do our own mini legendary haunt tour while we're here, which would be pretty cool. So yeah, so see how things change. We started off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 haunts, and then we changed it to 7. So pretty cool. Yep. Like the lineup, awesome. Appreciate that. See, that's another thing that I like. So we can add some other icons to this. Now Melissa, I think, has done. She did Nashville Nightmare. She has not done New Orleans Nightmare, and then I don't think any of us have done Mortuary before. So yeah, pretty cool. And Terror on the Coast was actually a haunt that was open during HauntCon a year or 2 years ago when it was in New Orleans, and I just didn't even think to book it and go. Can link you up with a few places. Well, that's it. You still need to come up to the Northeast here. Yeah, Northeast is going to be on the list for next year. Yep. Pennsylvania, New York, Maine, and then Rhode Island, Maryland, maybe, if we're up in the area. That's going to require a lot of planning and probably like a week off of work. So yeah, we'll see that. But yeah, should be a fun trip. Really looking forward to that. And this is in addition, obviously, to everything that we do in Florida. So our haunt season goes from the beginning of September to the end of October. So that's like 8 weeks. And this is 1 week of our haunt season. And we do a week dedicated to Central Florida, a week dedicated to South Florida, a week dedicated to North Florida, and then whatever else we get up to. You can make a full week or 2 week trip with 6 hours of driving. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the plan. Like I said, this is very well could be our last road trip. And then we'll probably be flying to places after this. Flying and driving. So hopefully the cost of flights and the cost of, more of the cost of renting a car will go down a little bit. Yep. Pretty cool. Awesome. Well, that's me rambling for a little while. So I am pretty excited about that. What do we got? 40 minutes? Oh my God, I've been rambling on for 40 minutes. But yeah, so that's the plan for this haunt season. So I'm going to wrap this thing up here. Bubba, Killam approves. So I think we're on the right road right here. So I'm going to update this map, and I'm going to add those other 2 haunts on here because it seems like we probably fit them in. So I'll get that one on there, and then yeah. So we'll just have to figure out how to do this, So if you're a haunt Please don't close at like 11. Okay, close at like midnight so we can get to you, right? Because that'll be helpful, especially if we're trying to get from one haunt to another. So we'll try to hook that up. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for hanging out. Appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to my main screen here. That is just me brainstorming. So thank you for being a part of that. Obviously, everything is subject to change, but I think that is what we're looking to do this particular haunt season. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for everybody that's hung out in the chat and chatted at me. Thank you, Chris, for chiming in for your haunt in North Carolina. And yeah, and good stuff. So all right, I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope everybody has a great night. Get out, you know, look for other stuff. Look for things to do. You know, if you're in Florida, because I know most our big demographic of people that watch the show are in Florida. If you need an opinion on a haunt, or you need to know what's out there other than going to HauntScene.com and going to the haunt directory for Florida, because that's where we have a home state, so we have a directory of all the haunts in Florida. We keep that up to date. But yeah, let me know, because there's all kinds of stuff out there. Obviously, the theme park haunts are great; they're a good time. But man, there's a ton of stuff out there. And like I said, I think we're doing like 15, 16 haunts just in Florida this year. And now it looks like we're going to be doing another 7. So 23, 24 haunts this year. Sounds like a good haunt season. So I'm excited about it. And hopefully you'll follow our adventures. And we're going to probably create a larger quantity of content this year other than just pictures and stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody that supports the show. And until next time, spook easy, happy haunting, and see you soon. Bye-bye.